Hello, this is Miss D again. Today we will be looking at how we can express money amounts in different forms. So let's go ahead and get started by looking at slide A. I want you to take a moment and tell me all you can about each coin you see below. When you're ready, unpause. So let's take a look at that first coin. So this coin is copper, right, or it's brown color. It's small and it's worth 1 cent. It's called a penny. The second coin here is a silver color. It's also kind of small. It's worth 10 cents and it's called a dime. And this final coin we see here is also a silver color. It's much larger. It's worth 25 cents and it's called a quarter. Let's find out a little bit more about each of these coins. So this first coin that we saw was a penny, and it's worth 1 cent. So we can write it as 1 cent, and it represents 1 penny, right? 1/100th of a dollar. So you need 100 of these pennies to get a dollar. Here we have a nickel, which we didn't see in the previous slide. It's 5 cents, and it's shown in both ways. So we can write it as 5 cents, or we can write it as 5 cents with a dollar sign. And again, that would be in the hundredths place. And we'd need 20 of these to equal a dollar. Then we have the dime, which is 10 cents, and we could write it both ways. And we need 10 of them to equal a dollar. And finally, we have that quarter. Now, the back of the quarter can also have different little images on it, so it's not always the equal anymore. So the quarter is 25 cents, and we could write it both ways. And we need 4 of them to equal a dollar. Now that we know a little bit more about these coins, let's go ahead and take a look at a few problems. So here on slide B, it wants us to answer how many pennies equal this amount of money. So we have a dollar, and we have to figure out how many pennies are equal to a dollar. Before we answer that question, I'd like you to complete these questions here in the 2 boxes. When you're ready, you can go ahead and unpause. So what fraction can we use to represent how much the relationship between a dollar and a penny? A penny is 1/100th of a dollar. It's 1 cent. And that's why we started on the previous slides being written as 0.01, right? That represents 1/100th of a dollar. Look at the equivalent values just wrote. What do you notice about a penny? We should notice that 1 penny is equal to 1/100th of a dollar. Right? Maybe you're also noticing that 1 cent, we see it here in the numerator. What does this make you wonder? Does it make you wonder how many pennies we need to make $10? We know we need a certain amount to make $1. How many would we need to get $10? We can get a lot of stuff with $10, right? We'll go figure out how many we would need for $10 in a moment, but let's take a look at this box. What is the value of the pennies below? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pennies. So that means each one's worth 1 cent. So that means 7 of them would be worth 7 cents. And that would be 7/100ths of a dollar. And since it's 7 cents, we would write it as 0.07. So 7 cents is not equal to a dollar, right? How many would we need? If we had 10, that would be 10 cents. If we had 20, it would be 20 cents. If we had 50, 50 cents. If we had 80, 80 cents. If we had 90, 90 cents. If we had 99, it would be 99 cents. And one more would give us that dollar. So we need 100 pennies to make a dollar. Now let's think about how much we would need for $10, right? We need 100 to make $1. That means 500 would make $5. That means we would need 1,000 pennies to make $10. It's a lot of pennies. All right, let's take what we did here on this slide, and now examine how many dimes would equal a dollar. So take a minute to fill this in, and when you're ready, go ahead and unpause. All right, now this fraction here is a little bit different than the previous one. In the previous one, we had hundredths. Here we're talking about tenths. So we're dividing, it's like we're dividing this dollar into 10 parts. And a dime would be how many of those parts? Yeah, the dime would be one of those parts. So one dime is 1/10 of a dollar. So if you went ahead and wrote, if you thought it was, maybe you were dealing with hundredths, well, that's true too, right? And if we reduce this by dividing out top and bottom by a common factor of 10, we would get that 1/10 as well. So we would write this 1/10. While this is correct if we're not talking about dollar signs, we really should write a digit in the hundredths place. So this is 10 cents. Right? If you go to a cash register, you're never going to see at the supermarket where something is like this in the register, just 9/10. It would have a 0 in the hundredths place. All right. So what did you notice about one dime? So you should have noticed that a dime is 1/10 of a dollar, or if you said a dime is 10 hundredths of a dollar, you're also correct. Did it make you wonder about how many dimes you would need for $10? We'll answer that in a little. So let's take a look here. Now remember, these aren't worth 1 cent like the penny was. Each of these dimes is worth 10 cents. So 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents. So here we have 40 cents. In 40 cents, the 4 dimes, remember we need 10 dimes to make a dollar. That would be 4/10, right? If we wrote this as a fraction, which is what I would recommend, it would be 40 cents out of 100 cents that we need to make a dollar. And again, 40 hundredths and 4/10 is equivalent. Again, we would write it as 0.40 to show the 40 hundredths. And we would need how many dimes to make a dollar? We would need 10 dimes to make that dollar. Right? Because we're trying to get to 100 cents. A dollar is worth 100 cents. All right, ready for another one? We're not looking at the penny, we're not looking at the dime, but now we're looking at the quarter. So again, same kind of question, how many quarters equal this amount of money? Like we just said, we said that a dollar is worth 100 cents. So go ahead and complete the rest of this slide. When you're ready, go ahead and unpause. All right, so 25 cents is how much of a dollar? So that would be 25 hundredths of a dollar, right? It's 25 cents out of the 100 that we need to get to a dollar. You notice we went back to hundredths. The reason being we have here tenths and hundredths. When we have hundredths, we have to talk about hundredths in our denominator. So 25 hundredths of a dollar, we'd write it as 25 cents either this way, or we can write it as 0.25. So what did you notice about the quarter? Did you notice that 1/4 is 1/4 of a dollar? Right? We can reduce this fraction. We could simplify 25 hundredths into 1/4. What does this make you wonder? Did it make you wonder how many quarters we would need to make $10? What is the value of the quarters below? So again, this is not a penny, this is not a dime, this is a quarter, so we have to count by 25s. So 25, another 25 is 50, another 25 is 75. So we have here 75 cents. And it's 75 cents out of that dollar, right? So 75 hundredths. and we would write it as $0.75. So how many quarters do we need to make a dollar? Well, we're pretty close. If we had one more quarter, we would have our dollar. So 25 plus 25 is 50. 25 plus 25 is 50. 50 and 50 gives us that 100 cents. So we need 4 quarters to make a dollar. All right, guys, I want you to kind of just wrap up your thinking here and answer the question, what does this make you think about using decimals to represent money values? So go ahead and answer this question. When you're ready, you can go ahead and unpause. So what did this make you think? Did it make you think that we can take what we know about tenths and hundredths to express money amounts and write it as both fraction and in decimal forms, right? We saw that we wrote 25 cents. We wrote it a few different ways, right? We can write it 25 with the little cent symbol. We can write it as a fraction of 25 hundredths, or we can even write it as 1/4, right? We could also write it using the dollar sign and using decimals to show how much a quarter is, okay? We can recognize 1 penny as 1/100th of a dollar, a dime is 1/10 of a dollar, and 1/4 is 25 hundredths of a dollar. We can also decompose different amounts into quarters, dimes, and pennies and write them as decimal, fraction, and decimal number. So you've explored those in the additional slides there. And we can write money amounts greater than a dollar in decimal form. Okay, so for example, we can write $5.25. Remember that the dollar sign goes in front of the numbers on the left-hand side. All right, guys, well, you've done a great job. I hope this video helped you in expressing money amounts in different forms. I'll see you next time, guys. Great job.